Let's have a little tune to carry us right into going live.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope a tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
Yeehaw! That goes so well with Bamboo. Yes, we are back, and with me, of course, today is Amber, back from her recent appearance at the Snotathon.
Oh.
Well, you did have a cold, so. You still there? Talking. I need you to
Sorry.
talk because I've got to get this bloody thing tuned up. That's why we talk for 5 minutes before
My
we...
computer was making noise and I couldn't for the life of me figure out why it was making noise at me until I realized it's because I have the chat thing on.
Oh.
And I forgot to mute my computer.
Oh, well, you should mute your computer. But fortunately, it doesn't come through to me, so I don't have to hear that.
It was a whole bunch of seconds.
Although for those of you who tuned in early and you get to hear the chats, we're going to be doing the shows a little different for the next 2 weeks.
Yes.
More details on that will definitely be in the show itself today. But, it is the Christmas holidays. It is the slowest 2 weeks of the year for me.
I am very much looking forward to it.
These are the 2 weeks of the year when I usually play catch up with all the little pet projects that I've been wanting to do. And I do have a couple of pet projects. I'll be showcasing one of them here tonight, or today. Today. Yeah, well, it's tonight somewhere on the globe. So anyway, what do we got to ramble about, kiddo? Ramble away. I got to get your volumes adjusted.
Ramble away?
Yep.
See, you say that and then my brain just goes...
Well, see, that's the whole problem. You're supposed to be able to, on cue, instant, start talking about nothing or anything, or maybe the white spot on the wall, because it's a very interesting white spot. It's very delicately drawn around. What?
You have white walls.
Yes, I know. I'm just giving you an example of how easy it is to just jump onto anything and just go. I mean, in front of you is, all kinds of random stuff on the walls. I've got a tomahawk on the wall.
That is true. Although I don't think that tomahawk would actually do much. It looks like it's made of gold.
No, it's metal. It's not sharp. It's a ceremonial tomahawk. It's got a pipe. It's a pipe and a tomahawk.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a peace pipe and a tomahawk.
That's cool.
It was given to me. It's part of some ceremonial stuff that was given to me.
That is pretty cool.
So, goes with my shamanistic ways of life.
Yeah, no, I still have no idea what to talk about. Yeah, you have a bunch of random things, but it's random things. Doesn't help.
Maybe we need to send you off to improv training.
Could help.
So that's what I did when I finally went to improv. I started to figure out how to, instantly look at something and go, this is a really fascinating little brass implement in my hand. It's inserted into a hole to allow for louder noise in your ears. We'll let you think of that one, but maybe. Also known as an adapter for your headphones for going from 1/4 inch jack to 1/8 inch jack. All right, so I keep falling off mic. All right, I'm gonna have to get my mic in a better spot today.
I think you keep falling off the mic just because you keep turning your head really far away from it.
Well, that's because I'm trying to get the knobs adjusted. You're not talking. I need you to talk.
Okay, how about I talk about gardens then?
Gardens will be fine.
Gardens. My younger daughter, she is looking forward to the summertime because she wants to catch a bunch of lizards, and I keep telling her to catch the lizards and let them loose in our garden. Problem is we don't have much of a garden in the back. I'm not really sure what we can do to really build it up because the backyard, we're technically not allowed to do anything. The owner of the house says no. So we've been kind of secretly throwing little wildflower seeds everywhere, and I think the birds keep eating them because we haven't had any grow yet. But it'd be really cool to have a bunch of lizards and snakes hanging out in the backyard and the front yard. Our neighbors downstairs don't like the snakes. I think the lady who lives downstairs jumped about 6 feet when she had a garden snake come out towards her.
Cool, so you need more of them.
It's kind of how I feel, yeah. I like snakes and lizards. I used to take snakes in that have been abused, which, yes, snakes can be abused. I've heard a lot of people say that no, they can't because they're reptiles, but they really can. Mm-hmm. And I managed to... the word is gone. When you take an abused animal and bring it back to trusting humans.
Rehabilitate.
Yes, there we go. I used to rehabilitate snakes and lizards, actually. I don't have much feeling in the top skin area of my arms, so every time a snake bit me, it would let go and look at me like, why no scream?
Oh, well, if rattlesnake bites you, you'll scream.
I think I just die. I don't really feel much on my arms. It's one of the reasons why I was able to rehabilitate them. I have like snake and cat scars all over my arms. And puppy teeth scars. Puppy teeth are really sharp.
Oh yeah, puppy teeth are extremely sharp. I look forward to when I can have a dog again.
Having a dog would be so nice. The neighbors downstairs got a new dog. It's this tiny little fluff ball.
It's a snack for a real dog.
Well, no, it's a puppy. It's going to grow up into a real dog, but it's still so freaking tiny. It's just this little fluff ball. Mm-hmm. And now that it's gotten more comfortable and it's more used to his surroundings, he's getting very vocal too.
Or mops without handles.
Yeah, that's the kind of dog she had before. That thing never shut up.
A mop without a handle that barks forever. All right. We're starting to get rounding down here. We really had no subject whatsoever to ramble about today.
No.
Absolutely. It was just a pointless, well, there's never a pointless ramble. It's just just rambling. We got 5 people online. Look at that. Rock on, folks. Don't feel free to make comments in the chat window, man. I'm more than happy to feedback that way. I'm not an overly good typer, so I don't type very often. I look forward to the days when dictation was actually working, but now that dictation works, what they do, it's no longer done on your computer. They send it to some central server and capture all your stuff and then dictate for you, and I don't want that. They got enough of my information out there in the world.
Okay, explain that again. I have no idea what you just said.
Your dictation, like if you use dictation on your phone, your phone does not do the dictation. That data is sent via your phone off to a central server, be it Google servers or iPhone servers or Apple servers. Then they translate it into text and it's sent back to your phone and it's there. Initially, it was done on your phone, but then they switched it a few years ago. I used to use the dictation on my phone, but then when they demanded that I connect it up to, what's that bitch's name for iPhone?
Siri?
Siri, that's it. They made it go through Siri, and basically it was to help them with their AI, but basically they're still capturing all your information. They say, oh, we don't save that information. Yeah, bullshit. Bullshit, man. They save every little thing. I mean, proof of that is those little pods you can get from Amazon Pods, the Amazon Alexa stuff, where the police have been subpoenaing the Alexa data for crimes and such.
Yeah.
Because Alexa records everything. Even when you're not using it, it's still recording because it's always listening for those key phrases that tell it to do something.
Yeah.
So it's always listening. It's like, I still love my best meme ever comes from the 70s of, oh, I don't want to say this on the phone because they might be eavesdropping on me. And then nowadays it's like, eavesdropping device, please do this for me. Well, with that being said, it is time to roll us on up to some music and some bad singing up into the showtime. Oh, yeah.
Don't claim to know your story, don't even have my own. In search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. They went missing down Highway 49. Devils at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Preacher man discovered, passed down from saint to sage, like a kind-hearted lover who's been lost on this stage. Went missing down Highway 49. Devils at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Not saying they're right or wrong. I ain't no Texan dancer. Well, move it right along. Went missing down Highway 49. Devils at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Chunky and the chigger just seen who done the crime. Captain pulled the trigger, guess who's doing time? They went missing down Highway 49. Devils at the crossroads, is he yours or is he mine?
Most definitely mine.
Don't claim to know your story, don't even have my own. In our search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. We're missing down Highway 49. Devils at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Devils at a crossroads, jokers doing fine.
Yeah. It needs that yeah at the end. All right, there we go. It is time for us to do a show. Hopefully it's an enjoyable, fun show for everyone, but we shall see.
I'm enjoying the chat so far.
Yeah, chat's getting entertaining. Everyone's planning. Everyone's using their smartphones to plan things. Yeah, well, welcome to the modern world, man. People are too stupid to figure out how to read a map. I don't use my smartphone for map reading. I actually download paper maps or buy paper maps and memorize my route like I did when I was younger. All right, let's wind this puppy up and let's get this show on the road. So off we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress plugins A to Z. Not Z.
Full of treasures. It's episode 490 with plugins for cooking, image display, history, debugging, protection, barbecue fire, and ClassicPress options, all coming up on WordPress plugins from A to Z. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 80,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gems? Join us for a weekly, unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress plugins from A to Z. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the Brewery Overlook in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. I'm John Overall, and with me is the ever lovely
Amber Overall.
And we have the usual great show for you today. Right off the top, got a few things for you. First off, yes, we are coming into the holiday season, and the 2 weeks from now until the new year are notoriously slow for me here. And yes, we will be doing shows on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, which is the two shows we have upcoming. They're both on Thursdays. It's Christmas Eve and New Year's. We will be doing them, but they will be a little different, and you will need to tune in to find out a bit more. Hence to say, though, Amber won't be in the same room with me, so it will be much more entertaining and might include a little more rum than usual. So that'll make it much more fun. So we do have great appreciation for the No Agenda Show, their inspiration of ideas, and the occasional stolen sound clip.
Squirrel!
This is a value for value show. I look forward to everyone providing some value back. And before I get too far started, you do want to hang around at the end of the show for our Q&A segment with Amber. And for those listening in the podcast of the show, you will want to check out the YouTube version, which has great discussions before and after the show, and also the second half of the Q&A segment. With all of that being said, it is...
Thank you for sharing, John. Now get down from that soapbox.
So before I get into my ranty bit, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who sent me well wishes. That was awesome. Thank you. I wasn't sick with the Rona or anything, just my daughter's usual this time of year sick passed on to me. Now, on to the rant that I was going to do. Apparently missing a week completely messed me up on the counting there. So I had this rant kind of set up. There was all these 9s. It was pretty cool. I was excited. And then my dad went in and fixed it for me. And we're actually on number 50 of 52 episodes, not 49. And for episodes for 2020, it is episode 490. And I think I'm just going to skip this whole first part.
Ah, it's such a cool part, even if it wasn't so fully manageable.
It is cool. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to skip it. People can read it if they want.
You can go to show notes and read it? All right.
Yeah, you can go show notes and read it. It's going to throw me off too much. So instead I'll move on to the second part. The second part is, the world has gone nuts. Keeping Sandy at bay by creating that place I keep talking about. A little place where you can tune out for a while. It can be anywhere. A blanket thrown over your couch to build a fort, in your bed with your door closed and a do not disturb sign or a sock on your door, or even in your car. Get into a space all your own, throw on some music and grab a book, or even throw on an audiobook and grab a drink. Kick back and breathe. Try to get there at least once a week, more if you can. If you have kids, duct tape is your friend. Nah, just kidding. Velcro. It's nicer. Honestly, though, just have them give you a whole hour where they're only to bother you if they are broken, dying, or bleeding. It makes a huge difference. And remove all internet and radio with news hours while zoning out. Try to let go of everything outside of your control and work on pestering those around you to do the same thing. Rinse and repeat as often as needed.
Alrighty, well, then what we need to move on to is a little bit of WordPress news.
Please, can everybody be quiet? Please be quiet. Shut up! Thank you. And now the WordPress news with John Overall.
Absolutely. We do have some WordPress news this week, and it is a little bit of a varied bits and pieces that we got coming out of the news. Before we jump fully into them, I want to remind everyone we have the great interview out right now with Arindo Duque from WP Admin Pages and WP Ultima. Go check that interview out. It's really quite good. If you haven't heard it yet, you really need to. First piece of news we have this week comes to us from BlogAid, and it's not the whole bit from the BlogAid here. It's the bit going all the way down to the WordPress tips on WordPress 5.6. We have been fucked again by our benevolent dictator. And in other words, do not update to WordPress 5.6 yet. It is not ready for you. They promised us when they were setting it up that while they were forcing an inclusion of auto updates for core updates, that there was going to be a checkbox or something similar to be able to just turn it off nice and simply. And it's a great idea because a vast number of people don't understand that, yes, you can go drop a line of code into your config file for WordPress to turn it off, but not everyone understands that. So what's going to happen going forward is those that update to 5.6, and maybe they'll fix it with the point version. I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in that. I believe they're trying to force auto updates down our throats the same way Microsoft has, the same way Apple's trying to. Everyone else is trying to constantly keep you updated so they can continually break shit on you or change it on you when you figure it out. They change it all, which is what irritates me to no end. At any rate, really good article, talks about some of the other problems in 5.6. Go read it out. The rest of her articles, she's got some really great tips. Mayanna always has great information. She stays ahead of the curve. I'm thoroughly convinced she doesn't sleep and all she does is work. Just based upon the amount of content she's always producing. And I'm 99% certain she doesn't have kids either, because if you got kids, you couldn't possibly keep up that much content.
Hey, Dad, Hemdian said he's already on 5.6.
Oops. Well, if you don't want auto updates coming in, you'll want to go fix that. All right. So that one being said, this next piece of content here, this next is more of a news article. And this one here is near and dear to my heart. It's something I've been preaching for 20 plus years to all my clients or anyone that even gets near me. And that is control your data. Control your website by doing and finding a quality hosting company that gives you all the tools necessary to make your off-site backups without having to use add-ons or plugins or anything else. Mainly, you need backups on your own computer of your website. And this is a really good article that goes into the reasons why. And the author here actually describes an instance where they started out in their early career making content and everything. They had what they thought was a really good guy who was, hosting this stuff, probably through his own account with a hosting company and charging her so that he could get his hosting for free. And what happened was one day he just disappeared, and it took her a month or more to get a hold of him, to get her data and recover her website. And this is the thing I'm always telling people. Own your data. Don't depend on it. She goes into some good rants here on why you don't want to have your content in a free site such as Medium or Facebook or anywhere else, because let's face it, if it's free, you are the product. And I got this nice little quote from the article. You'll like this. The content you willingly write on Facebook is theirs. The photos you are publishing on Instagram are theirs. The tiny messages you are throwing on Twitter are theirs. The big news you are sharing on LinkedIn is theirs. Now, granted, you may still own the copyright, but by virtue of putting it there and you agreeing to the in-license user agreement, you have agreed they have an unlimited license to use your content in any way they want or feel. So they take your content and they use that to sell advertising, and they make money on you. So in other words, you are the product. So anyway, go read this article. It's really worth the time. It's a pretty decently long read, but well worth it.
You know, I've been telling people that for years, and I still have a few people who I talk to regularly that they don't believe me. They're like, "Oh no, this is my Facebook page." It's like, no, dude. No. You must have never actually read the agreement.
No, the agreements, it's really hard to read. I read it once.
I've read it twice. I figured once every couple of years is a good amount of time in between to actually see all the differences.
All the changes? Yeah. It changes. But it changes about every 6 months, I think.
Yeah, but not majorly. Well, it hasn't really majorly changed since like 2016.
Oh, okay.
It's still pretty much the same. It's probably going to majorly change this year, though.
Oh, probably.
But yeah, it's hard to read, but
they need to be able to censor people better.
They do make it fairly clear, though. If you can kind of understand legalese, they make it clear.
The next article I've got for you here today is an article from an author talking about PHP, and there's some rumor going around the internet that PHP is dead, and he's like, stop saying PHP is dead. It's not dead. No, it's never going to be dead. PHP, too much of the internet is built around PHP. It's going to continue to grow, and of course we know PHP 8 has just dropped, and they've made such major changes that it's going to impact lots and lots of people for the next 6 months. Good article. You'll want to go check this one out.
Yeah, I don't really know much about PHP. I don't know why people are saying it's dead.
I have no idea. I hadn't actually heard it, but at any rate, here's another one here, and this is another good reason, relating back to the previous article, not to depend on other people's stuff to get your stuff done. Unfortunately, that's the way the internet works, but Mapbox GL JavaScript is no longer an open source program. And what this means is, unless you're a developer of mapping software or mapping apps and stuff, this won't impact you. But it is a good read to understand how a developer can get a JavaScript bundle, something that people depend upon to build additional things, can suddenly change the face of the internet by changing the licensing structure of his program. It goes from being free to being a paid service, and all these people that were dependent upon it allowed them to build their model. You know, it's really a complex web we have on the interwebs themselves, and how many people depend on others. And this is a really good read to get a little bit better of an understanding about that intricacies of the internet and the dependencies that many developers have on open source scripts.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about it. Okay, so it was open source, which means that anybody could use it.
Yep.
And now
it's going to a proprietary license where you're going to have to pay a fee to use it.
Yeah, but I thought that open source meant that multiple people helped to create it as well. So.
Not always.
Not always?
Not always. And even if multiple people help create it, it doesn't matter. The original owner of the script can change it anytime they want.
But don't they only own like a piece of the script and they don't own everything that everyone else added?
Depends on how they've written their licensing. There's a whole lot of complexities to go into it.
Yeah, I don't really see how that can even work, though. I mean, if so many people put a lot into it, then it's no longer the original script. I don't know. It kind of melts my brain.
It does. All right. And the last piece we have here from our benevolent dictator, Matt Mullenweg. Mullenweg, that's it. Sorry, got the name wrong. Yes, I don't like him. He probably doesn't like me, but that's okay. He probably doesn't listen to me anymore. I know once upon a time he listened to me. That was years and years ago when I was well-behaved, and I'm no longer well-behaved.
No, you're not.
And anyway, the State of the Word is coming out today, and it looks like it might have already been delivered. So got a link in here to the State of the Word for WordPress this year. I'll go listen to it again, and maybe if it's funny enough, I'll do like I did last year or a couple of years ago. I actually created a video. With comments on the State of the Word and talking about his stupidity and the things he was doing. So At any rate, go check that article. Go check that article link out. Takes you directly to the State of the Word at WordPress.org, and you will want to hear it because basically this is where he tells you all the benevolent things he's going to do for WordPress over the coming year. And that's all we have for news. So let's talk a little bit about my favorite segment, which I really hope one day grows up quite big, is the donor support segment of the show. We really need a jingle for this one too. But at any rate, this is where I like to talk about those who have supported the show and what this show is. This show is a value for value model, meaning that if you're getting any value out of it, please give us some value back. You know, that value can be anything. That can be your time, that can be your money, or that can be your artwork, or anything you want to help and support the show. There's always little things that need done on this show, and I never get to them all. But eventually, we will have all the support we need to produce a very excellent show with even more content than we have now. So help the show out. And first off, I like to talk a bit about the artwork that I've chosen for this episode. And this week's episode, we have a beautiful piece of artwork here, which is a pirate's treasure chest just full of treasure. And thanks go to Angel Lamu from Koa Digital for supplying this artwork for us. I'd really like to see more artwork. I truthfully am running out. We've got 2 weeks left in the year, and I've got 2 pieces of art left. So if I don't see anybody new year, I guess I'll have to start creating my own artwork again. And my artwork is nowhere near as pretty as the stuff supplied by you, the listeners. So thanks again, Angel. Greatly appreciate it. Then I'd like to talk about the executive producers, of which we don't have any this week. Executive producers are anyone who comes in $50 or more. They get a note in the show notes, and they get the executive producer credit. And it's a real credit. You can use it anywhere. So you can throw it on your IMDb as you are an executive producer of the WP Plugins A to Z podcast. Big thank you, though, to all the producers who come in under $50. There's a couple of you out there. I greatly appreciate you. It's a few bucks here and there, you know, monthly subscriptions, small weekly subscriptions. Thank you very much for that. And especially a big thank you for those of you who hire me because you're listening to the show. That is as good as listening to the show. And if you would like a shout out at this point, let me know, because I don't automatically give shout outs because you hired me. It just, I don't like to infringe upon people's privacy unless they ask for it. All right, so just let me know. And one final thing, I am still pimping out my daughter here. If you want to see her pretty mug in the live stream, it is now up to $300. 200 didn't get it, so it's now $300. And until it happens, I'll continue to raise that price. At the rate it's going, she'll never be live. And someone may have to start a GoFundMe just to make her mug live. So we'll see. $300 now. I need a $300 donation.
300 is getting up there.
Yeah, it's pushing. Every few weeks, I'm pushing the price up higher. You know, it's like it should be going down, but that's not how I feel. If it's like, if you don't want it, I'm going to raise the price. You know, raise it until somebody decides it's valuable.
What's funny is with art, if you put your price really high, more people want it.
I know, it's really weird that way. Lots of things are that way. It's like my hourly rate, when I raised it, I suddenly got more work.
Huh.
Yeah, it was really a weird thing to wrap my head around.
I really don't get that.
Yeah, people value it more. They think if you value it, they value it. It's the way it works. All right, so if you want to support the show, you can go to the multiple places. Check out the show notes for all the links. You can go to you can donate money to the show. And, of course, that is the one thing we definitely always need in the show.
We just need cash. I know a lot of people want to send blankets or water. Just send your cash.
And you can do that by going to wppluginsa2z.com/donate. Or go to the art generator. You can also submit articles, news, and information. I've got a few plugins that people have submitted in the last couple of weeks. I just haven't been able to get them worked into the show. I will get them worked in over the next couple of weeks. That way I don't have to do any real work. I can just go pull the stuff that's been sent to me. All right, well, that wraps up all of that. It is time for us to dive into the depths of plugin depravity and hit the part of the show that everyone really tunes in for. All right, first off, ClassicPress options. I don't really have any this week. I've run out of all the little snippets I had, and I've just got the basic ClassicPress resources in here. You want to see stuff on ClassicPress? I know I have a few listeners out there that work with ClassicPress. Please send me some info. I haven't had time lately. I've been so caught up in WordPress development for everything that I just don't have time for ClassicPress right now. So I want to keep it going. I want to keep the ClassicPress segment of the show alive, but I really need some help with that one. So anyone using ClassicPress, send me some content. You can send it to john@wppro.ca. Let's move on into the WordPress plugins. And the first one I have for you right out the gate here is called Simple History. This is a really great plugin. I pretty much forgot it existed until I was doing some work. I was moving one of my clients from one server to the other, and of course I had to do some tweaks. And I was digging around in their site. I was like, oh, hey, I remember this plugin. I remember when I installed it about 7 years ago, give or take. It's been kept up to date, really great plugin, and it gives you a really great history of what's going on in your site. And this is a great plugin to use when you're developing a site and your client keeps sneaking in there and breaking shit on you, but blaming it on you. Every developer knows what client I'm talking about. Every developer has had that client. They sneak into the site, they change things, or they update shit, and you get all the blame. And then you need to have something to catch all that. This is a great plugin. It tells you when they logged in, what they did, what they updated, whether they've changed plugins, updated, activated plugins, user profiles, failed logins. It's got a whole lot of stuff in this plugin. I completely forgot it existed. So I wanted to bring it back forward. Fantastic plugin. It's a total freebie, and I give it a 5 dragon rating.
Question about that. Do you have to set it up a certain way, or is it like a plug and play thing?
It's pretty much plug and play.
Okay.
Pretty much plug and play, and it just monitors stuff. I didn't look to see if it had any new adjustments for things you can turn on and off. I just use it the way it is.
That's pretty cool, though. So first one I have is disable user enumeration. This is user enumeration is something I only recently learned about. And this plugin seems like a good idea. It's designed to stop the username harvesting that some people seem to enjoy doing. It only works against those that are not logged in, so there is no worry that your users will accidentally get screwed over. And this plugin doesn't have any settings to bother with. It's one of those plug and play and off it goes. And I think it works pretty well. I haven't had it going for very long. I don't think I'm going to be getting any reports or anything, but they do give you a couple of codes so that you can actually go and check to see if there's enumeration happening. But unless you check it while it's actually going on, you're not really going to see anything. So it could be especially useful if you have a site that has multiple users or a chat community going on. I rate this at 5 dragons.
That could be a very useful plugin. I actually saw that and I was like, what is this? And I went, oh, okay, what they're doing is in WordPress, ever since about version 5, give or take, there's been the ability with the API that people can run calls against your website and get a listing of all the users you have on your website. And, of course, steal their email addresses for marketing purposes, or spam, as it's called. And this plugin prevents that action from occurring unless they are a logged in user, is how I understand this plugin. Mm-hmm. So it's a very useful tool to help protect your website, protect your data from skimmers and scammers. So something you will want to check out if you do have a website with multiple admins or a community where people sign in, or if you have an e-commerce store, then you have multiple users on your site because they all create an account to buy stuff from your store. And that is users that can be skimmed out. So a good thing to have on your site for protection. Okay, the next one I have for you here is called Best Image Gallery and Responsive Photo Gallery, FooGallery. Wow, the name sometimes is like, you guys could have just stuck with FooGallery.
Yeah.
But you had to just expand it on out to the nth degree. Some titles are just too convoluted for a plugin.
They had to add the word best.
Yeah, well, at any rate, best aside, this is a pretty good plugin as far as image galleries go. And the reason I may have used this or I may have reviewed it in the past, I just don't recall. But the biggest thing with this plugin is that it's the one that would work on the Rogues Tavern. I tried a couple others, and for some reason, they're just not loading the data. And it must be something I've done with my theme that's preventing it from loading all the images properly. I don't know what it is. But this one would load all the images in the nice galleries I wanted to display across my website. And it's free for the most part. It gives you everything you need if you're just looking to display some galleries. They do have a premium version which gives you enhanced galleries or enhanced layouts and other stuff, which if you're into an image website, really a good tool. But if you're just like me wanting to showcase some of your images from hunting or camping or whatever, this is still a great tool. So anyway, go check this one out. It's called Best Image Gallery and Responsive Photo Gallery. Screw it. It's just called FooGallery. And I give it a 4 dragon rating.
That sounds pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, it's a useful tool. It's really great for images.
Next one I've got is Debug Bar. This plugin is pretty nifty. You plug it in, activate it, and you wind up with a little added-on bar on the top of your admin page. It honestly took me a little bit to find it because I was expecting it to show up just on the actual admin page, not at the very top on the bar. But it's actually pretty cool. It can track PHP warnings and notices, and when save queries is enabled, the MySQL, I always want to say MySQL.
It's also MySQL.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So it's not totally crazy that I want to say MySQL then.
No,
okay.
that used to be what it was. I just call it SQL.
Okay. The MySQL series are tracked and displayed. To activate these options, there's a couple of codes they give you, which I put down here. It seems pretty awesome. When you go to check it out, you click on the little bar and it takes you to a new page where you can check everything out in great detail as well. So you really have a good idea of what's going on, what's being worked on, what's happening. It's a totally free plugin and it seems pretty useful. I would recommend anyone who is in developing at least check this out and see if it helps you out at all. And I'd love to hear back about it. I rate this at 5 dragons.
Absolutely. Anything to help development go easier is always a welcome sight to developers. Okay, the final one I've got for you today. This is called WP Recipe Maker. Now, this one here is an upgrade to their original plugin, which was called WP Ultimate Recipe, which was a plugin I had installed, last June or so for the Rogues Tavern because I'm going to have recipes there. And it's a great plugin. I liked it out of all the recipe plugins I looked into. And when I was looking at things this last week, I realized they had a new warning on there because they completely rewrote their plugin. Instead of upgrading, they rewrote it. Getting rid of their old one, they had a warning that this plugin is being depreciated. I went and checked. I went, okay, fine. I had to go through a bit of a conversion process to convert everything over, but everything worked very well. It actually worked a bit better than their original WP Ultimate Recipe plugin. It's a really good plugin. It has lots of premium stuff to it, but currently with the way the tavern is, I won't go with the premium version. Maybe in about 6 months or a year when I have enough clients, enough visitors or members to the site, I'll improve the recipe plugin to a premium version and add some of the functions from that. At any rate, really great recipe plugin. It allows you to put everything in here you need, and it has all the recipe metadata to help improve the search of your website. Go check this one out, WP Recipe Maker, and I give it a 4 dragon rating.
That sounds pretty useful.
Oh, it's a great plugin. I like it.
It's always nice when plugins, they do an upgrade and what you get is actually better than what you had.
Yeah, but it's not always nice when they completely change the plugin. You got to install a new plugin, go through a conversion process, and hope that they did. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention on this. They have set it up. If you're using a different recipe plugin, you want to give this one a go, they will import from about 10 or 12 different recipe plugins that are out there.
Oh, nice.
Into their plugin. So
the last one I've got is, I keep saying barbecue firewall. And I'm just going to stick with barbecue firewall, even though
It is barbecue firewall. Look at the image on there. You know, the image they give up.
Barbecue firewall, but the BBQ stands for block bad queries.
Oh, I say it's barbecue firewall.
Yeah. Okay. So
I mean, they've got a barbecue for their image.
that's true. Maybe that's why I keep thinking barbecue. Aside from, BBQ. So this is from the creator of Black Hole for Bad Bots. And this actually works in tandem with that plugin. This is a lightweight firewall that protects you against a huge long list of things. It runs silently in the background, and there's nothing really needed for the setup. You just plug it in and off you go. It doesn't collect or store any data, does not set any cookies, and does not connect to any third-party locations. And there's nothing to set up, so there's no place in the settings to add your email or any other information. So unlike with the Bad Bots plugin, you won't be getting any periodic reports or anything, which I actually really like that about Bad Bots. There is a pro version of this, though the free version seems to cover everything a general user needs. So I would say go check this out. I rate it 4 dragons.
Very nice. It could be very useful. Hemdian had a question here about does Debug Bar show off site calls? He's looking for an easy way without looking at code to see if a plugin is pulling content from another site.
You would have to actually go in there and search. I'm not sure. I'm still learning to understand entirely how to use things like this. So I would say try it out.
Yeah.
See if it pulls up that information. That's the only thing I can think of. Or maybe, well, Hemdian, you have more knowledge than I do at this point, so I'm still learning. So go check out the plugin and look into it. You'll probably have a better understanding of all of the stuff it says.
Yeah, I should probably read the rest of his comment. It goes with the first comment that he wants to verify some old plugins that are, if they're vulnerable to these other sites that are being picked up by bad actors when abandoned by the original developers. The ones I have in mind are fairly simple and shouldn't need to pull from elsewhere. Okay, let me translate that to something I understand a little clearer. I think what Hemdian's talking about here is recently it made the news. I think I talked about it in one of the shows, is that plugins are being abandoned over at WordPress.org. And what happens is authors will buy them up and do something with them. But the other one that's occurring, and this what I think is happening, is domains. Everyone lets domains expire. Well, there's developers that develop plugins that use like their own website for JavaScript calls to the plugin calling JavaScripts from their website. And then that developer gets a job with Microsoft or whatever. He abandons that. He abandons this domain. Scammers realize that that domain had this plugin in it from whatever, or this script in it from a plugin call. They buy the domain. They put their own JavaScript in with the exact same name, so that now a nasty payload is being delivered to that plugin automatically. So it's something in there that's in, and I don't know, but I'm sure there's ways to track what kind of outside calls are being made from your website. I've just never gotten into that myself either.
Okay, I think I kind of misunderstood the question there at first. Okay, I have a better understanding of that, of what was meant now.
All right, and one little final tidbit of news, or not news, but from the plugin world. We have a link in the show notes. This will be something that I'll look to do a little more often occasionally. It's a random link to a website that builds out some plugins. You know, it's some Open Graph Refresher, WooFishla, WooCommerce Taxonomy Report, Glossary for WordPress, Pinit, Interest, Aridate, Excel, Hook Flowchart. There's a lot of different WordPress plugins out there. I think I'll try and find more information on different websites and pieces out there and bring them to the show. Okay, that's all we got there for plugins. This show is currently sponsored by...
Reminders for the show.
Me.
All show notes can be found at wpplugins.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A to Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsaToZ.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using wppluginsaToZ.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WPPluginsAToZ. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
Oh, did I? The hell did I?
Are you tired?
Holy crap! What did I do? Haha.
Sure. Was that was the end thing, wasn't
I
it?
was off drifting. I can't believe I just played the ending and nobody said anything to me.
I drifted too.
Oh, I drifted right off. I
Yep.
was lost in space. Wow, that was fascinating. All right, now that we're back, I'll have to look at cutting that out of the podcast. Where
Are
was
you
that?
tired of the same old web hosting?
That's where that
Not
was
having
in
the resources you
48
need to
minute.
run your website properly? Having a lack of control? Then you need johnoverall.com web hosting, providing you with all the resources you need to smoothly run your WordPress website or ClassicPress website. With strict limits on the number of clients allowed per server, johnoverall.com provides high quality, fast server performance. Visit johnoverall.com for web hosting that won't slow you down.
Absolutely. Now that makes more sense to me. That was funny. It's amazing what happens. Your brain just tunes things out sometimes. At any rate, if you're looking for great web hosting, make sure you tune in to me. Come visit johnoverall.com. I have a limited number of slots left. They are going, and once they're gone, they'll be gone until somebody decides to leave me. And, well, truthfully, I have very few clients ever leave me. I've got clients that have been with me for 20 plus years now. So I'm really thrilled with that. Okay, and of course, this falls down into one thing. How important is your website and your data? I've run into more than a few of these in the last few weeks, helping clients move things around or update or change stuff. And don't worry, don't get the blues. The Gators the Gators will get you in the end, not naming any companies, but they don't offer backups or an easy way to transmit your data or move it. So it's a very important thing you want to take care of. Get yourself quality hosting. Hey, and a little bit of listener feedback. This isn't exactly listener feedback, but it's close. And what I want to do is I want to mention Jess, the winner of our contest for the cart lift program. It seems he has a local company called Silent World Apparel. It's a local apparel company here on Vancouver Island. They sell some really interesting art and designs for t-shirts and other apparel and tote bags, women's, youth. Really great stuff. They've got a really great story. Go check out their store. Go help them out, folks. They could probably use a little bit of help in this current state that we are in. Really great guy. So thanks a lot, Jess. I appreciate you winning the contest and supporting this show. So go check out his website at silentworldapparel.com. One other little bit, if you are a No Agenda listener to this show and you listen to this show also, go check out my new website I just created for the No Agenda show. It is the No Agenda Red Book Predictions. If you're a No Agenda listener, you know what the Red Book is. Go check it out. I finally built out the website and it's working well. I've got to get more of their predictions in there, but go check that out because after all, Adam and John are from the future.
Nice. I will definitely have to go check that. I didn't know you'd actually put it up yet.
I've been working on that one for about a year off and on, and I finally managed to get it accomplished last weekend. I suddenly felt the urge to finish the development on it.
Oh, and MDN said he thought he'd blanked out himself and had just missed part of the show.
Yeah, well, no. That's what happens. Sometimes your brain just fries. A very Monday-styled Thursday. Yeah, absolutely. All right, and contests. I do want to announce we have a winner from the last contest. But first off, our contests are powered by the Simple Giveaways plugin. I thank them very much for providing us with the premium version of the plugin for our contests. And I do like to thank Charlie for coming to the aid of the show and getting our contests all organized. We still have an unclaimed prize from the WP Admin Pages Pro. We'll be recycling that prize real soon. We do have a winner, chicken dinner for the WP Ultimo, that's it. Congratulations to Daniela Paz, who has also supplied artwork for the show. So congratulations out to you, Danielle. I appreciate it. And as soon as you get back to me with the email, then we will get your license sent off to you. We don't have a contest starting this week. We're going to take a break this week, and we're going to start it up again next week with a lot of fanfare. It is Christmas after all. You know, it includes eggnog and lots more rum than eggnog. Okay, and to help close out a couple of things here, the plugins I covered in this show here, and the reason we'll play the closeout for it this time is because we're going to go into the... Oh, no, we're going to...
Get your brain on again.
Get my brain on. Oh, yeah, we do the closeout halfway through the question and answer segment. There we go. All right, so we're going to just cover up the other tidbits here before we go into the Q&A. Plugins we covered on this episode. I covered up the Simple History, which I gave a 5 to. The Best Image Gallery and Responsive Photo Gallery from FooGallery, which I gave a 4 to. And the WP Recipe Maker, which I gave a 4 to.
You put mine down backwards again.
Yeah, well,
I
gotta
covered...
keep you on your feet.
I covered user enumeration, which I gave a 5 to. Oh, sorry, disable user enumeration, which I gave a 5 to. Debug Bar, which I gave a 5. And barbecue firewall, which I gave a 4 to.
Okay, and quick reminders, there are none really, no meetups, nothing else. If you want to be on an interview show, reach out to me at wpplugins.com/interview. Find out more about my insanity, just go on over to theroguestavern.com. I've started adding a few things to the website and starting to tweak it out, and the membership section will be going up real soon because there's a lot of stuff that I've been developing that is going to be members only on that site. Okay, it is time for...
It's question and answer time.
So just a quick note here. If you have any questions you'd like asked, send them to me at amber@wppro.ca and I'll get them into this segment. Okay, so ready, Dad?
No. Go ahead.
Okay, first question is, what is syntax highlighting in WordPress and why would I want to add it? This is a question that was given to us.
Okay. All right, so syntax highlighting is when you use the ever dangerous code editor in WordPress, and the code in that editor is your syntax for the code. And nowadays, most code editors do highlighting of the syntax. They highlight the syntax with different code colors depending on whether it's a function, whether it's HTML, whether it's CSS, all the little bits and pieces, so it's easy to find what you're looking for in the code. Because previously it was all black and white and it all just blurred together. It was actually rather hard to read before syntax highlighting came into effect. So the reason you would want syntax highlighting is it makes it easier to read your code, thus easier to find your mistakes in your code.
Okay, so I've only really just started understanding code a little bit. Mm-hmm. What is syntax? Is that like the different language of code, or
no? Syntax is the different ways the code is written.
Oh, okay.
You know, because you got HTML as a type of syntax, JavaScript is a type of syntax, functions for the coder is type of syntax. It's all the same code, but they all do different things for the code to run.
Oh, okay. So what this does is it highlights your mistakes?
No, it highlights your different types of syntax, so you know what syntaxes are. You know, like if you're writing a piece of CSS, you know, you'll see that it's highlighted. It's usually blue. I think CSS is. The JavaScripts are highlighted in red, I think. I don't know. I have to look. And it probably varies from syntax highlighter to syntax highlighter.
Okay, now I'm understanding.
You know, it's like all that code is in one file, and it works together. But the problem is as you're writing it, like you still use semicolons and other stuff when you're writing CSS and JavaScript, but JavaScript requires different actions such as the open bracket, close brackets. It's a mess, and I vaguely I understand code. I can debug code, but when it comes time to write it scratch, nah. Yeah, real men code Notepad, then copy and paste from there. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, no, those are the insane people, the people that actually know how to type at 80 words per minute with almost no mistakes.
Yeah, I can't type code very fast, though.
Yeah, well, if you type enough of it, you'll be able to.
That's true.
It's just a matter of figuring out what you're typing, I imagine. You know how to type real well.
Yeah, I can type really fast. All right, so the next question is, what is a staging server? There's a few questions attached to it. Should I just ask them all at once?
Well, you can ask them all at once, and we'll split this up.
All right, and this is another question that was sent in to us. What is a staging server? How do I know if my website host offers this service? Why would I test my site using this?
Okay. Well, what I'll do is I'll answer what a staging server is, and then we'll cut out and we'll come back for the final bits only on the YouTube version. Okay, first off, a staging server is, this has multiple definitions, but it still boils down to the same thing. It can be, a staging server can be on the same hosting provider inside the same hosting account you're on the same server. But or it can be like I do, is I often have a staging server on a separate server using a subdomain or some other thing. But in essence, what a staging server is a place which is a duplicate copy of your live site. So it's duplicated, and when you're going to make changes to your live site, you go to your staging site, you make those changes, you test those changes, see if you don't break your website. If it doesn't break your website, if you have the right connections, you can then just push those updates to your live site. If you don't have all the connections, you manually copy and put those updates into your live site. That's what a staging server is and what it's for. Now I'm going to cut us out, and this time I'm really going to play the extra, let our girl take us out of here, have my tequila shot, and we'll come back after this for the YouTube version and answer the rest of that question and a couple of other follow-up questions. All right, so let's let my girl take us out of here and enjoy my tequila.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at
And his little hat.
www.plugins.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A to Z is
Good
a
stuff.
show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsatoz.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using wppluginsatoz.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WPPluginsA2Z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.
Alrighty then, let's move it along. Okay, so next question was, how do I know if my website host offers this service? Well, most website hosts do not offer that service. I myself, as a web hoster, I don't directly offer that service as a service for hosting. What you have is enough space where you can go create your own staging site within your hosting account. Very few hosts offer that. There's a few, mostly it's managed hosts that have that set up, because it is a process to set up a staging service for people to use. And I did sort of answer it in the beginning, why would you test your site with a staging service? In that you want to test any changes, updates, code changes you're going to make, especially if it's a live site that has lots of traffic and that site's making you money. You don't want to break it. You want to make sure that whatever changes you're doing aren't going to break that site. And that's what a staging site is for. I often use a staging site mainly for development of a website. Like you just finished a project that's going live on December 21st, and we can give a little peek at it. It's Dear Folksies, and the new site is going live December 21st. And that project was built in a staging server.
Okay, I was wondering about that because we had a lot of similarities between two sites when I first joined, but
yeah, now it's completely different. We use the staging server to rebuild the website, and now that we're done rebuilding, we'll just basically I'll take down the old site, push the new site into their proper files, and make it live.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Okay, that's cool.
Okay, next question you got.
You already answered the why I would test my site using this.
No,
right?
you got what's the difference between a good and bad backup?
Okay, so what is the difference between a good and a bad backup?
Good backup means you actually save your files. A bad backup means you can't read anything.
Okay, how does that happen?
Data corrupts.
Okay.
The AI out there goes, yeah, you think you made a backup, snicker. I threw a random breadcrumb in there, which blows the whole thing apart. Basically, it's because data is moved in bits and bytes. All it takes is one byte that didn't transmit correctly, or it hit a bad memory block on the computer. Like your data goes from your hard drive to your memory to your screen. Your screen to your memory to your hard drive, and it writes it continually. Oh, also, I forgot, it also pushes it through the CPU. So that data makes a pretty good trip. And occasionally there'll be a bad spot in the memory that is rarely ever accessed by your computer. And every once in a while, you might be doing enough stuff where it starts to use the upper ends of your memory, and maybe you got a bad spot there, and a piece of data goes there, and it comes back, and it's only minorly corrupt, so you still see it on the screen, but when it resaves it back to the hard drive, it's no longer readable. And the same thing can happen to a hard drive. Like your data is like, if you think about a hard drive, if you've ever seen it, it looks like a disk, looks like a CD, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that data is not stored in a single line like a record disk. That data is stored like at the front, in the middle, the back. Like you can take one sentence, the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. That sentence will be stored at 500 places on that hard drive.
Seems kind of counterproductive.
It is counterproductive, but it's not. It's just the way it was designed. The data is not stored in any one place or in a smooth line like a record. It's stored all over. So that hard drive is being read constantly, and basically what it does looks, oh, that block is empty, store the data there. Oh, that block is empty, store the data there.
Okay.
Is basically how it works.
So how do you avoid a bad backup?
You can't. You just make multiple backups. That's why I always say multiple backups. I learned this one the hard way when I had my computer store. I used to back up my data for my sales every single night. And what happened was someone told me, oh, you need to keep about 10 of them. Well, I was overly paranoid. I kept 60. I kept my last 60 days of backups. Well, it paid off in spades one time for me in that I went into my store, I opened the store. The night before, I'd done my cash out, closed it down, closed the computers down, everything was fine. I come in the morning, fired up, my whole system had crashed. And it had a corruption in the database that had been in there. So I was like, okay, well, no problem. I'll just restore to the backup. Well, the backup from the night before was corrupted. And I went, okay, that's not good. Let's go to the backup for the day before that. That one was corrupted. I had to go back 15 days. I had to go back 15 days to find an uncorrupted copy of my backup.
So it's a good thing you kept so many then.
That's the reason I keep so many backups of everything, is because corruption sneaks in and you won't even know it's there until everything is wrong. And you're making backups, but you making backups of corrupted data means you have a corrupted backup.
Yeah.
So I lost 15 days worth of data instead of everything. So that's why you make so many backups, and why I've got terabytes of data stored for backups. I've got backups going back way longer than I should. And eventually I do get rid of some to clear space for my hard drives, but it's just what happens. The only way to know you have a good backup is to test it, restore another server. Yes, that's the only way to know if you got a good backup. Once worked on a site that used a tape backup but kept using the same tape. Wow, now you're kind of dating yourself there, Hemdian. The tape backup.
Hey man, we were still using tapes in security when I worked in Calgary.
Yeah, well, when we looked at it, there was no magnetic material left on the tape. It had all worn away. As far as the client was concerned, they were good because they were still doing a regular backup, but they'll never be able to restore anything. Yes, that people do that. Same thing can do with a hard drive. You can eventually demagnetize those, I suppose. Okay, so next question here.
How do you install backup if the backup is needed to bring the site back to life?
That depends on what kind of backup you have.
What? I thought backup was just a backup.
No, there's multiple styles of backups. It's like you could, in reality, most backups are zip files. And you can extract the zip files and extract just the files you need. The backups I make are basically, sometimes I make a direct backup and I copy the files directly. Sometimes I make a full zip backup of the entire account. And if I need to get in it, I just unzip the files and then I pull out the files I need. And restoring it, the biggest thing you need to make a backup on for WordPress is the database. The database contains everything for your site. Your files are important, yes, but your files are only the structure. The database tells it what to look like.
Okay.
So that's why you got to make both. But restoring it, it's like if you like some plugins, if you can make a backup with those plugins. They make a zip backup. You can manually unzip them and use them. I've done that, but those plugins will allow you to run a program to restore it. Basically restoring is a matter of getting the files back where they belong using whatever type of backup you use to undo it, or manually. I do a lot of it manually because I have more control over it.
Okay, well, what was in my head when I wrote that question was like a site is just dead and you need to bring a backup in to fix it. Mm-hmm. How do you bring that backup in to fix it if you can't get into your thing?
Oh, you FTP files backup.
Oh, okay.
You use FTP to overwrite the files that are there and restore them. I recently had to do that for a client project that I worked on. I got it all done. He wanted someone else to finish out some design work on it, and they broke it big time.
Oh.
Fortunately, because I am paranoid like I am, as soon as I had everything working perfectly, I made a backup before somebody else came in to do other stuff. And that backup saved him hours of my time. Because I was able to, after they broke all this functionality he had paid hours for to get written and done, I was able to go in and just restore all that functionality.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he's quite happy about that, but and that's because the developer, the people doing the development for his new design, didn't take into consideration all the custom functions that we had created for his site, for his WooCommerce website, and they damaged them. Oof. And now they have to redo their development work, but that's not my problem. My problem is the functionality. So yeah, and basically what I did was I just basically overwrote everything that they'd done with the files from my backup.
Okay, so you don't need to delete it first or anything. You just overwrite it.
Yeah, you don't need to. I always do. Sometimes what I'll actually do is I'll actually put the backup in a brand new folder. And then I'll just change the folder names, and then I just swap them out, and I keep whatever, like I kept all the stuff that they damaged and broke. I've kept it in a separate folder, so in case I need it for evidence, I can say, no, look at this, man, it's not my mess, it's theirs. So,
and the last question I have for you. Mm-hmm. After you have figured out which plugin has broken your site and have disabled it, what's the next step? Do you just delete the plugin, or is there a way to figure out why it broke your site, and can you then fix it?
Well, it depends on how badly you need the plugin. Like if you really, really want that plugin for your site, you figure out why it broke your site and you fix it.
Okay, how? 'Cause
you have to be a code debugger, and I can do it part of the time. Other times I can't quite, I know what's wrong, but I can't quite put my finger on it. And then I reach out to a guy I know who writes code, and I get him to fix it for me.
Okay, so it comes down to the code then.
It comes down to the code of the plugin, because they've done something in the plugin code, and that's what causes it to break. If you don't need the plugin, you just delete it.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. All right, well, that's it. That's all we got for questions. Oh, my God. She had way too many this week.
And to think, I actually left 2 alone for next week.
Oh, goody. Well, we'll have some more stuff for next week. All right, well, that pretty much wraps the show. Full backup versus incremental. Well, let's come back to that one real quick for Hemdian. He made a comment here, full backups versus incremental. I'm not an overly big fan of incremental backups because incremental backups sometimes don't get everything that has changed. They're supposed to, but I've had the experience where I've been doing incremental backups and it didn't get everything I needed when it was time for me to restore. So I just make full backups. You know, data storage is cheap now. It's really cheap for data storage. It's like sitting on my desk in front of me. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 external hard drives of 4 and 5 terabytes each, and they're almost all completely full. I've got to go through and clean them up and get rid of stuff that's more than 4 years old, because 4 years ago is really stuff I don't need. And it's usually old client data or websites I worked on briefly, and I made backups. So I need to clean those up. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of incremental backups. They do work, but not my favorite way to do them. And with data storage being so cheap these days, there's no reason not to make full backups.
What is incremental like? You only save some files?
Well, yeah. Okay, because when you're doing work on a website, you only change a few files. Mm-hmm. So you only save the files that were changed. You have one full backup, but then going forward, you only change the files that have changed. It saves storage space is basically all it does.
But then if changing a file broke the whole site and you had to do a full backup, that wouldn't be helpful.
Yeah,
it?
No, that's a good point. Partly why I just make full backups.
Makes sense.
All right, well, that wraps it up. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to carry us out of here with this really, really great tune. Oh, I have some non-WP clients that have terabytes of data. Yes, I have terabytes of data too. So it is the life of data, and data storage today is still pretty cheap. Let's carry this out of here. It's a great day for some.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
And that's all we got now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.